Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1980s.
We accidentally summoned demons who used to rule the universe to come to take over the world. Or something.
This is episode 272, recorded November 14th, 2024.
Gruesome Magazine.
When will these people learn not to read random passages from random books that look like they were, published with human skin covers?
Latin. In Latin. Yeah, don't read stuff in Latin.
Well, but it was from a band, so
Yeah, well.
All right.
Got to be careful there too.
From a band who took it from another book. I don't know.
My name is Jeff Mohr. This podcast is about horror films released between 1980 and 1989. Each episode, my co-hosts Bill Mulligan, Crystal Cleveland, and Chad Hunt, I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this radical, gory, influential, and gruesome decade. Joining me tonight is Crystal Cleveland, actress and YouTuber. How you doing, Cleveland?
I'm pretty good. I think this should be interesting. I will say that it's been a long time since I've seen this film. I remember it a little differently, but but yeah, this is fun. Yay.
I'm digging your, you sort of have this overall blue magenta look that, with the lights and the
background. It's very cool.
The killer clown and the Freddy and the others and art, and then your hair and then your lipstick, and it's just all.
So it's like blue. Well, so what's interesting is like blue light actually can like totally wash out the red, as you can see. Normally I have less blue light, but I put a little bit more. That's why it's like washed it out, because this should be redder, really.
I like the way
normally
it looks good though,
but I like it kind of combined, and then it makes kind of purple.
It's very
like,
giallo.
Yeah.
Red and blue make purple.
Yeah.
Yep.
I learned that on Sesame Street.
Also joining us is Chad Hunt, comic book artist, co-host of All the Decades of Horrors. How you doing, Chad?
I'm so fantastic you wouldn't believe it.
All right. You got charged up last night, right?
Yeah, I went to see Iron Maiden last night and The Who. And
the HU Who.
The HU Who. And boy, I'm still thinking about it today. It was such
Are your ears ringing?
Huh?
Are your ears ringing?
Say again?
Yeah, okay.
I'll bet that music's cycling through the brain. Anyway, and last but not least is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, co-host of Decades of Horror, the 1970s, published author, and all-around nice guy.
Well, thank you.
And you can get that book ROM.
You can get it on Amazon, where they have lots of books. But don't worry about those other books. Just get mine.
And there's Kindle versions, and
yeah, Christmas is coming up. You got any like kids who need to? I don't know, up their ante.
I think you should read it, Bill, and then sell your own audio tapes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Then you'd watch me mispronounce words that I knew enough to write down, but not enough to actually pronounce right.
Oh, I'm with you there.
Or better yet, have Sammy Castle read it.
Ooh. And then I'll get letters. It's like, excuse me, you don't pronounce the G in paradigm. FYI.
Paradigm.
Dang.
Paradigm. Yeah.
Paradigm.
It was a paradigm.
All right. Decades of Horror, Gruesome Magazine, is partnering with Play Now Media on several of their channels. In fact, Decades of Horror, the 1980s is on Wicked Horror TV. And you should check them out. They got lots of cool movies, and they have upgraded their apps. And there's lots of ways you don't even have to give them your name. You can go there and watch movies, kind of like Tubi, and get ads and stuff. There's a few featured content that you won't be able to get, or you could sign up, simply give them a username and a password, I think, or maybe an email and a password, and you still get the ads, but then it'll remember where you're at, and you can keep a favorites list and all that stuff. Or you could pay a monthly fee, or you could pay it annually for a discount and get everything without ads. What a deal. It's good stuff, and there's a fair amount of things there. In fact, there's a movie we're going to do on Classic here coming up in a couple weeks that is not available to stream anywhere else.
What movie is that?
Kiss Me Deadly.
Oh, that's a fantastic movie.
I can't. I mean, I didn't check YouTube. But in terms of all the apps and stuff, and
it's the best noir movie ever, I think.
And it's science fiction-y.
Yep.
Hey.
So anyway, on this podcast, we start out by giving some basic details of the film that we're going to discuss, followed by our taglines. Or first impressions first, then taglines. Then we got to take off in a general discussion, everything from posters to effects to actors to directors to other things our tiny little brains shoot off to in connections.
Yours might be tiny, but
okay. Well, squirrel. How many times do I say squirrel at a time? All right.
It's tiny, but it looks big because of forced perspective.
Oh boy. Okay.
Well, that's actually, yes, that is true.
a lot of men say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, don't you know this is what? Like this is 6 inches?
Like, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like shrinkage, but it's not. It's really not. You got to look the right perspective.
Your eyes just got big. That's what happened.
All right. Let me. So our topic. Oh, and spoiler alert. We talk about. We're just going to pretend like you've seen the movie. We're going to spoil the heck out of it. We'll probably talk about the ending. So.
Oh yeah.
Also, spoiler alert: we make dick jokes.
Only if your mind wants to hear.
That's right. If that's where your mind wanders, then
that's true. Yep.
All right.
Whose fault is it really?
And our movie is The Gate.
Speaking of dicks,
This handsome gentleman is known as the Workman, a legend, or an urban legend, I guess, of a guy that was got buried in the wall on a construction project, and which is why the side of his face is all mushed over, which is cool, I think. And this is a Craig Reardon specialty.
Good.
There's a lot of different special effects in here. And in fact, while I'm thinking about it, I know we'll have other pictures of him, but the Workman is played by Carl Cranes. Okay, the movie The Gate, 1987, director Tibor Takács, written by Michael Nankin. The cast includes Stephen Dorff, a really young, cute Stephen Dorff.
Oh, yeah.
Krista Denton, Louis Tripp, Jennifer Irwin, and Kelly Rowan. Production company, New Century Entertainment, the Vista Org, Alliance Entertainment, and Gate Productions. Filming locations, mostly in Toronto. I believe some of the stuff was done back in LA, there's some pickup shots and stuff, but not much. Released, filming dates, March 31st to May 24th, 1986. Released April 21st, 1987 in the UK, and May 15th, 1987 in the US. The budget was $2.5 million Canadian dollars, which at the time was about 1.8 million US dollars. Domestic box office, 13,539,458.
Good return.
It was. Canadian film. So kids left home alone accidentally unleash a horde of malevolent demons from a mysterious hole in their suburban backyard.
Okay.
That's what you get for leaving your kids home alone.
Yeah. Mysterious holes.
It's ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Well, they managed to get those two words together. They're home alone. All right. So this is Crystal's pick.
It is.
So let's do first impressions. And as is our custom, she gets to start.
Okay. So I had not seen this movie in forever. So I loved it when I was young, but I was really young. And I have not seen it in ages. But so watching it again, I realized how sweet it is. It's kind of a really sweet horror film. It's very PG-13. It's very clean. It's very like Goonies horror. I think even the Monster Squad is more, so just know that, like, in my mind, I didn't remember it being so squeaky clean. So that's something. Okay, I did still enjoy it. It starts off kind of slow. It's just a cute film. Like, this is not one of those ones that now I feel like I need to watch every year or anything like that. But I'm glad I rewatched it because if I were, going to give someone a suggestion for someone who's young that maybe wants to like dip their toes into horror, then this is a really good one because, I mean, spoiler alert, as we do here, since the movie is like 30 years, 40 years old or whatever it is, everything turns out all right at the end. It's all hunky dory. So that's always a good thing.
Well, the house is a little worse for wear.
They got some explaining
No
to do
one
when their
cares
parents come
about
home.
the house.
Well,
No one
mom and
cares
dad
about
will
the
when
house.
they come home.
I was like, wait, oh,
Because they're not going to buy the
yeah.
story they get. Anyway.
I said no
Yeah.
parties.
Yeah.
Yes, they did indeed.
So I still do like the effects. I like the little creatures. Okay, that's mainly what I remember from the
Right.
film, I guess, when I was younger. And the hole was kind of scary to me. And then the dog died, so that was sad. But I mean, I do see that some of the effects and that stuffed dog was hilarious. Okay,
Oh my
y'all.
God.
I
The
was
dog-
dying. I was dying. I was like, oh,
The dog is resurrected, though.
yeah, yep, that too.
That always works out well.
Funny how they're carrying around this. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, oof, this movie. It's actually, it's not a bad film. It's not a bad film. I still understand why I liked it when I was young. It's just not something I would recommend to any adult. That's all. That's
Okay,
all.
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bill Mulligan, let's hear from you.
I saw this, I guess, as soon as it was available on HBO or whatever I watched it on. So 87, I would have been 27. It was past my due date. But if I'd seen this when I was young, when I was, if I were as young as Crystal and I saw it as a kid, yeah, this would have been one of my favorite films. This is and still remains a really good gateway horror movie. And in fact, I think I am looking forward to watching this with my grandkids next time I'm down in Florida. I might, see if I can scrounge it up and watch it because it's got some scary stuff. It's got some stuff that is scary for kids. Like your parents show up and you're happy to see them, but then it turns out they're just monsters pretending to be your parents. That's a scary thing. That, the idea of your parents not being who they say they are. The dog dying. There's a lot of the terrors, and then just the basic premise, which is that this brother and sister used to be really close, but now she's 15 years old and he's 12, and she's putting away all these childish things, and he's still there. It's got a lot of heart. When you were saying it's kind of sweet and it's kind of this, what you really were saying is it's kind of Canadian. It's a Canadian,
It's one of the nicest movies.
It is. It's got horror. It's got zombies. It's got demons. But fundamentally, it's got a bunch of pretty nice kids. Grown-ups might as well not even be there. They don't factor into things. The kids are not those precocious little brats that we see so often when they do a kids movie. They're not the Goonies. I may be alone in not liking the Goonies, but there it is. I'll just throw that out there. Send your letters to someone else. It was too late when I saw it. But this one still has a lot of charm. It's got a great deal of charm. Now, from a technical standpoint, it's got some really cool effects. And they're the kind that we're never going to see again because it requires you to build ginormous sets with forced perspective, and it totally works. I remembered it as having lots more stop motion animation because the little demons, which I thought were stop motion, watching it now, I realize these are actually really good suit actors who managed to not look the way they usually do when they stuff a bunch of people in suits and just look like they're, waddling around. They filmed it in a way that actually gave it the look of stop motion, I think. And it works. And then there is some actual good stop motion in there too. And there's some zombie stuff. There's some nice little backlighting. There's, it's just got a lot of really cool little things that work much better than you would expect. I think they had good reason to be proud of how this came out. And it's got a couple of shots that have totally lingered in my memory, despite having not seen it in decades, where the guy falls and turns into the zombie, the little monsters. That's great. That's a great shot. looking at it now, I can see how they did it, but it's still a great shot. So I think this is a fun film, and it is definitely one that you can watch with your kids without it
Oh, yeah.
being, it's not a Disney movie. It's a genuine horror movie, but
Mhm.
they don't linger on the gore and everything. It's a PG-13 horror movie, and that's usually something I would say, PG-13 horror too. But I really didn't want to see these kids covered in blood and guts. I didn't want to,
Mhm.
this isn't make them die slowly. Okay. It's this
Yep.
is what it is, and I think there's definitely a place for movies like The Gate.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
not many things are make them die slowly. Okay.
No.
Thanks, Bill. Chad, how about you? Had you seen this?
Yeah, I saw this as soon as you could rent it. I think I rented it and never saw it again. But for that fact alone, that it didn't have a lot of gore or horror, scary horror in it. I guess what I was used to seeing, Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, stuff like that. But watching it now, and it's aptly named because it is sort of a gateway horror movie that you could let the youngins watch, but it still had legitimate scares in it. It wasn't sappy. It was played straight, and I think what really saves this film is Stephen Dorff's performance.
Yeah, he's really good, right?
He's so natural, and so
Mhm.
he says things a little kid his age would say.
Mhm.
Not like Bill brought out, not the precocious little, "Oh yeah, Dad, well, your butt stinks." Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Modern
and,
Disney fare.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he's sort of a natural. He's got fears, which this movie kind of gave him an arc with that he kind of had to face those fears at the end, to save everybody. And it built that up, where he was embarrassed by the levitation and he cried in front of everybody and ran away. He had everybody looked at him as kind of this little weird wimpy kid that, but he kind of faced up to all that by the end, and it was a pretty good arc. And I thought he did a wonderful job. All the little actors in here did, I thought, the young actors. Great stop motion, great special effects. That's what I like about it too. Is it's didn't look cartoony at all. Most of these horror movies made for younger people, or the effects or things that are supposed to be scary look more of have a cartoony look to them. And this didn't. The zombie looked scary. The creatures were scary. It was just it's a great little film, and it was. It's not an epic that you'll always want to watch, all the time. But I'm glad we chose it again to watch again, because I really enjoyed revisiting it and going back to it.
Excellent. Okay, this is. I'll take it here in a minute. I had not seen this before.
Oh
wow. Okay, cool.
I think probably, seemed more like a kid's movie. I don't know. I just
that rightfully so.
just didn't pay it that much mind, but I really, really enjoyed this. And it is, I think, everything that you guys said, I just reiterate, Stephen Dorff does a great job. All of the kids do a really good job, I think, but Stephen Dorff is pretty amazing. And you got to hand it to the dialogue too, the way it's written, that it sounds natural and it's not an obnoxious kid. It seems real. The relationship between him and his sister, and everything. And they have taken I really like how they've taken almost at that time every kind of practical effects. And there's a couple little I don't know, that I guess you'd call it, I don't know if you call it CGI or not, but there's a couple little electrical effects in here. Like the lightning bolt before the tree goes down, that kind of thing. But most of it is practical effects, and it's a really weird melding of like all of forced perspective, prosthetics, and stop motion animation, and it's just, and some of it is multiple things transitioning in one seamless scene, and it just is amazing how good it looks. I really, really enjoyed that. All righty. So I liked it. Thanks, Crystal. I had not seen this. I kept thinking about it. There are some alternate titles there, and I didn't look up the pronunciations on any of these, but in France, it's known as The Gate, La Fissure, or Fissure, like, you know what I mean?
Like a fissure.
Yeah. In Italy, non aprite quel cancello. Don't open that gate.
Okay.
All right. Mexico, Tunnel al Infierno.
Infierno, yeah, like hell.
Tunnel to Hell.
Tunnel to Hell. Okay.
And in Germany, Gate, die Unterrudischen. How to take one.
I don't understand German at all. It makes no sense.
How to turn underground into 5 syllables. Unterrudischen. The underground. Gate.
Jeff suspiciously does, though.
Yeah. Interesting.
I like to overcomplicate things. So anyway. All right. So I think that's it for first impressions. But that means that now
it's time
for taglines.
Yeah.
There's a few.
Yeah, there's a few. Okay. Taglines for The Gate are as follows. They're here and they want to meet the neighbors.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Totally out of tone with the movie. Totally.
Who's they and I didn't see.
Why do I care?
All right.
Okay. There's a passageway, a gate behind which demons wait to take back what was once theirs.
I thought you were going into Brady Bunch there for a minute.
Could have. We don't want any lawsuits.
No.
Or pay any royalties.
Definitely not.
There is a passageway to the most evil place you can imagine. A gate behind which the demons wait to take back what was once theirs. And now someone has opened the gate. Pray it's not too late.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. They've opened the gate now. Still, pray it's not too late.
Kind of the same thing.
Praying already. Jeez.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what, guys?
What?
Demons lurk behind the gate.
Should we pray?
Okay.
Well, you could pray it's not too late.
Yeah.
That's funny, actually.
Oh my God. When you're gardening, don't dig too deep.
Okay. I'm done.
That's dumb.
No, I'm done. I'm out.
That's a foreign poster. I can't remember which one it was, but that was a translation.
It's horrible. That's funny, though.
There is another door. Nope, same door behind which demons wait. Someone opened it.
Ah, the fool.
See, we changed the subject and the anyway.
Undoubtedly a devil's work. That cannot be a tagline.
The gate, undoubtedly the devil's work. The gate.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you, but
that's an odd one.
And that's why translating doesn't work very well, at least not in Google Translate. Okay. Well, and that's been Taglines with Chad.
Chad's our hero, cool and rad. With him reading taglines, they can't be that bad.
Do, 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 do.
Well, let's take a look at.
Oh, we're ready. Sorry.
Some posters.
Yay!
That's a good poster.
Okay, this is what I remember, of course.
That's a great poster, actually. I mean, that.
Yep.
makes it seem a little more horror than it really is, but that's fine. That gets you in.
Mhm.
I like the little eyes and the A. I mean, it just this works perfectly fine. They
Yeah.
need more. They need to make more posters like this.
Mhm.
Actual painted posters
Right. A
where
little
it's
bit of
not just
art.
5 floating heads on it.
Yeah. Got Morgan Freeman's head floating in the corner, even though he's not in the movie. I mean,
Yeah.
every poster looks the same.
And I thought I saw, let's see, advanced poster artwork, Mick McGinty. I don't know if that's what this is or if that's would be something else.
Whoever did a fine job.
And then we have this one, which is the
I don't
house.
remember that.
A lot more
Next to-
generic. Yeah.
That's not the house from the movie.
No.
No, it isn't.
Look
It
like they
isn't.
just slapped some stuff together.
They tried to make it look like a haunted house.
Yeah, this looks more like an Italian movie.
Looks cool.
You know?
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we got the green grass grows all around, and the fiery hole, and the hands coming out, and the vapors whooshing in.
Nice.
Those aren't
font.
vapors.
No.
That's a tagline. Those aren't vapors.
Okay, and that's it. That's what we have for posters. There's
not
a
a
bunch of them, but they all are the original one with just
Just
four
variations
languages
of
now.
yeah. Well, that was a good poster. No reason to. It's probably a bad sign when a movie has a bazillion different posters. It's like nothing's
Mhm.
working. Try again.
So the director, Tibor Takacs, Takacs,
Taco Tuesday.
So I was
Good
looking.
question now,
He did one other horror movie that
Mansquito?
got-
What the heck? Is
Okay,
that?
so
Don't
he
ask.
did I Madman, which was another attempt to. I feel like that was an attempt to get a Freddy Krueger thing going. He was one of the creators of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and that I'm
Which
sure
I
brought
like
a lot of
that,
money.
Yeah.
He
And
directed
then
the
when you look at
original.
his stuff now, he did Gate 2, which I haven't seen, but I haven't heard great things about. He did a lot of Sci-Fi Channel stuff, like
Mhm.
Mansquito.
That was
And
I've never even heard of that.
yeah, I don't think you need to.
You wouldn't.
And he did. And now he does a lot of those Hallmark Christmas movie stuff.
Like you said, Bill, he did like 6 Christmas movies in a row. Rocky Mountain Christmas, It's Christmas Eve, Memories of Christmas, A Christmas Miracle, The Secret Ingredient.
I
which is a
remember
Valentine.
that one. I remember that one. It's where this girl, this working girl from the city, she's got like a upscale job, and she goes back home for some bogus reason, meets a guy in a flannel shirt. They don't get along at first, but then they discover they have a whole lot in common.
I think that's Christmas Miracle 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, that's all of them. Every single one of them.
And
But,
The Secret
people
Ingredient.
love them. People love
Secret
them.
Ingredient is a Valentine's Day movie, then The Christmas Aunt. And these all are like above 6 for IMDb ratings. But then
Which
he
is
has
probably
these
good for that genre.
odd little action flicks. Black Warrant and Blowback are 2 most recent ones. Destruction Los Angeles is one. Spiders. My Babysitter's Vampire. He did 10 episodes of that. A TV series. So yeah, Meteor Storm, which is a TV movie, but so it's very strange. I mean, this is probably his most well-known movie.
I think so.
Other than the Hallmark stuff, right?
Right. But I'll bet Sabrina's the one that brings in that residual paycheck.
Probably. That's probably what.
Because that
he
actually
did-
was a pretty fun show, as I remember.
He did the original TV movie, I think, in 96. Is that? Was a director, and then Sabrina the Teenage Witch on the TV series. He's only listed as 1 episode. Director of Sabrina Goes to Rome. And then we get into a couple more Christmas ones, Once Upon a Christmas and Twice Upon a Christmas. All right.
I like Hallmark movies, though. I mean,
Yeah. No, they
honestly,
It could be like comfort food.
Mhm.
That's right. That's right. All right. and I don't know what this is, Metal Messiah back in 78.
Little Messiah.
A dystopian rock opera about an enigmatic metallic-skinned stranger who is trying to stop society's self-destructive obsession with rock and roll hedonism.
Hedonism?
Okay, hedonism.
Paradigm.
Speaking of different paradigms.
We're in a paradigm.
So I think, you know,
he did a fine job here. You know, someone I was reading a review and they described this movie as, what if the kids from E.T. were stuck in the house from Poltergeist and the ground opened up and a bunch of gremlins came out? And they're like, yeah,
okay,
yeah, that's kind of it, you know.
Yeah, that seems fair.
And I guess the writer, Michael Nankin, was just writing about a whole bunch of stuff that scared him when he was a kid. Like a lot of this stuff actually happened to him. Like a neighbor kid, when he moved into a new place, had told him this workman story to scare him.
And you would talk about fears that kids have. The one kid lost his mother. His mother has actually died.
Yeah.
Okay, that's traumatic. And then she comes back.
She shows up. Like, that was so sad.
Yeah, that's sad and scary at the same time. And,
very Disney-esque.
Yeah.
So there was a bunch of stuff in there like that. So speaking of the lead character, Stephen Dorff, what? And now he was actually 13 or 14 when they filmed this.
Wow.
Not in this.
Yes.
What?
I mean, just okay.
They
filmed it in 86.
I would have said he was like 8.
He was born in.
He is a little guy though, in real life.
He was born in 73.
God.
So he was at least 13.
Wow.
He doesn't, but it's not even just the size though. It's just his face looks like,
young.
He's got a baby face.
Exactly. So
like at 13 is when they're just starting to become. They start looking different though.
His friend looks like he could be 13 or so.
Guys are slower. You know?
But he did a great job.
Beautiful baby.
You must have been a beautiful child.
Because most kids in these movies, I just like, oh, can a monster kill them, please? But I really like these kids. I was rooting for them.
Even the two twins.
Yeah, even the annoying friends of your sister. You don't want to see them actually die.
This seems so weird now. He's listed at 5'8", which is a fine height.
Yeah, it's a fine height. It's a fine height. You know? Anything more than 5'8" starts getting a little grotesque, if you ask me.
He is now 51. It's hard to think about that. I've seen him in a few things that I thought were okay.
La Magra, the blood god from Blade.
Yeah.
I
think we have another slide of some of the stuff that he's been in.
Dwarf stuff. So that was kind of cool here. That is the cast right there.
Yep,
those are the names I read.
That's about all we need. Oh, we got a couple of random demon.
The two sisters and the hair on that sister. I mean,
oh my God,
that was like from what was that movie? Along Comes Mary or Mary.
Oh, something
about Mary.
Something about Mary. That's what.
Oh yeah, when she has the the gel. Ew.
Oh man,
girls from 1987 almost destroyed the ozone layer.
Yeah, with all that hairspray for sure.
So did a lot of rock bands.
Well, yeah.
And then that's a nice little. They got that painting on the wall that's supposed to be. I think that's supposed to be some of the demonic stuff from the book or the album or whatever it was. But here's some other stuff.
There he is fighting the one and only. Apparently, the only blade we're ever going to get. And Immortals, Leatherface, Fear.com, Space Truckers. He's acquitted himself quite well.
I just watched Space Truckers for the first time a few months ago. Oh my God, where has that been all my life? What a great movie.
Was that a Stuart Gordon movie?
It was.
Yes. Yeah. With Dennis Hopper. It's hilarious.
I don't remember him from that Leatherface movie though.
Yeah. I think it might have been a smaller role in that. He was great in Blade.
Yeah.
You know, he was a legitimate threat.
I haven't watched that for a long time.
I swear there's been something else that I remember him in, but I don't know.
Well, he did a series, an odd series called 13.
Mm.
That was something I watched where he had like I think he had a Roman numeral 13 tattooed, and he had to, lost his memory or something, was trying to find out why he had that. And, it ended up being part of some secret, clandestine organization or something.
It just
Paradise
feels like I've seen him in
City,
so much stuff.
see,
It's like,
he's
it feels like it. I'm like, how do I know him really then? It's got to just be Blade then. Because
he's got 107 credits in IMDb. He had a part in one of the one season of True Detective. He was actually in.
He was
the
like a
first
major
one.
part of that. Yeah.
This season, was he in season 1?
I think season 3 is where he had a major role.
I don't think he was in season 1.
I don't think he was too, but it irritates me how I thought I clicked on his links.
Unless it was a small part that I don't remember, but I don't.
Nah, it says 8 episodes in 2019. Yeah. So that's the one with Mahershala Ali was in it, and Stephen Dorff was one of the leads on Detective Roland West. Yeah. It was they talked about a crime in the past, and then a modern day guy reinvestigating that same crime. And Mahershala Ali was the detective that investigated it in the past, and Stephen Dorff is one of the modern. Scoot McNairy too was in that. Oh, all right. I'm sorry.
So was Dick Chasen.
Was he in that too?
Are you making a joke? Are you serious?
There was a.
Am I supposed to say who's Dick Chasen, and then you say something funny?
Yeah, exactly.
No, there was a character.
On.
There's a character in the movie Indestructible Man with Lon Chaney Jr., and his name is Dick Chasen.
Wow.
Sure, Chad. Sure.
That was
It
unfortunate.
was.
That's Jeff. Yeah.
Lieutenant Dick Chasen.
Okay. Dear God.
His partner,
And
over.
The writers the writers were women.
Yeah.
Of course they were.
They were having their fun.
Smoking cigarettes by the carton. Yeah. Why don't we call him Dick Chasen? See if we get it. That's so Margaret.
I'll never think we did it. Wait a minute. Who am I on here? He was in. Is this another Tibor? Cecil B. Demented?
Oh yeah. He was the lead in Cecil B. Demented. John Waters.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of John Waters. I can do mainstream stuff. Doesn't all have to be people eating dog feces.
I shot Andy Warhol. Anyway,
he's done a lot of independent stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, he showed a lot of promise here, and unlike a lot of child actors, he actually grew up to be an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Kept with it. Good for him.
Yeah, he does a great job. What is it? I think he has that one line when they're bickering back and forth, and I think maybe it's with his sister's friends when they're having the party, and he tells one of them to like something like suck on my nose until my head caves in. I don't know. There was some good zingers in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that's how that joke goes.
No.
Okay. And Kristen Denton. Yeah, her character's.
Don't call me Al.
Referred to as Al. I think it's short for Allison, isn't it?
No, Alexandra.
Oh, Alexandra.
Alexandra.
Yeah, you got it. That's right.
She's good. She's natural. I don't know how old she actually was, but she seems like a 15-year-old girl.
She is, let's see, she was born in 72. So yeah, she would have been a 14. So 14-year-old playing a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old playing a 12-year-old.
And she looks way older than him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying,
really
like
she
several years. So that's what's so
she's
interesting.
way taller, but again, it's different. different ages.
My sister, my one of my younger sisters was just a year younger than me, but because girls tend to mature a little earlier, she was about the same size. People thought we were twins. All growing up, people thought we were twins because we looked enough alike and about the same size to be plausible.
Tell her we're sorry.
Ah.
Oh, you got jokes, huh?
No,
Yeah.
nobody laughed except Christmas.
Nah.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. I remember at that age, though, when your sister brings her idiot friends over, it's just like, oh, geez. But I will say, growing up with sisters, you do learn how to talk to women and how not to talk to women. And so that's, I feel bad for those guys who just had nothing but brothers because, you see them later on and they got no game. They're hopeless.
She must have been. She was in. Nobody's going to know anything about this but me, probably. 8 Million Ways to Die. Which
the West?
No, just 8 Million Ways to Die. It's a detective. It's based on a detective series by Lawrence Block, and the detective's name is Matt Scudder, and he's a recovering alcoholic. It's also co-written by Oliver Stone. Now that's crazy.
That's crazy.
In 1986. But Jeff Bridges plays the lead character, and Rosanna Arquette is the female lead, and apparently Krista Denton plays his daughter.
Oh, wow.
Another one I need to go back and take a look at. It's another one of those ones where I go, well, this ain't how the books feel, but okay. So yeah,
but I liked her. She was cool. She was, she wasn't a boss girl, but she, had courage and everything. She was a good character. She was really done. They really did a great job of this.
She was trying to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to do things to be part of this group, but at the same time, she would draw the line. She drew the line. And cared about her brother. And it basically, like so many horror movies, you end up with the battling trio at the end that are the friend Terry and sister Al and little Glenn fighting the monsters.
Yep.
That's one thing I never understood about horror movies, and even sitcoms and stuff like that, where they have to make the kids so obnoxious you can't stand them.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking when they do that.
I hate that. It just turns me off so bad.
You'd think you'd want a more sympathetic character if they're going to get killed off in a horror movie, or so it'll have more of an impact. You shouldn't be cheering the bad guy when he kills them. It doesn't make any. That never made any sense to me.
No, I
don't know who they thought they were appealing to.
I mean, little Opie and and Beaver. They were Opie? Funny, and they were smart ass up.
Wait, what is Opie? It's from that
Andy
Griffith.
Thank you. Oh my God, that's Ron Howard.
Yes, it is.
Right? Yes.
It's I watched some movies now. They did like a remake of Resident Evil or something. I'm getting in there.
That one.
They showed the kids are so obnoxious to their parents and everything. I'm like, okay, these kids die. No, they don't die. Apparently, we're supposed to be rooting for them.
Oh, and that's okay. So that's what's worse. They make nowadays. It seems like they're writing the kids annoying, and then it's working out for the kids too. I'm like, just the dumbest thing ever. Okay, of course you can write it and make it work out okay, but let's just be real. Kids and teenagers are just dumb.
I feel like somewhere along the line there was an obnoxious teenager that made obnoxious quips that was a success.
Like Kevin from Home Alone.
Yeah, but he's not
annoying. He's just he's just kind of a jerk.
Well, like I think they were all trying to be Bart Simpson, but Bart Simpson is well written.
They're just not. Yeah, and it's a different thing, but
right.
I think it's a case of you've got older writers trying to write their their perception of a teenager, and most old people say, "Yeah,
They're so dumb. Yeah.
stupid teenagers." Blah blah blah.
I think what
So
also
that's-
hurt them are sitcoms, because the basic family, the family sitcoms. Dad comes into the room, says something, and the kid makes some quip back, and then we hear the laugh track.
Yeah.
Yes.
And someone actually did an amazing thing where they took, like Full House, and they took the laugh track away, and it is the most awkward thing possible, where somebody says something, somebody makes a funny reply, and then everybody is just like says nothing for a length of time that the laugh would be in there, but without the laugh, it just seems really awkward and cringy.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's because then it's not real life. It's it like exposes it for being a TV show or whatever.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
everybody in the audience is going, "Yeah, my kid would never get away with that."
So let's take a look at some of these monsters.
Look at those little guys.
So those
They're
guys,
so cool looking, really.
those guys were sculpted by Randy Cook and his crew. They were the Randall William Cook, or Randy Cook, designed and supervised the special visual effects. So both doing those costumes and designing the forced perspective, doing the forced perspective, and of course they had cameramen and lighters and all that stuff on that. But yeah,
the design of the creatures is really good because they don't look like guys in costumes. The hands are thin, and they managed to make it look like something that had to be stop motion or or puppet motion or something. And then Jeff and I were talking earlier. He saw something where they did a trick where they were saying they filmed them at 1 frame per second. That seems awfully slow. But I sort of get that. I think that's why I thought they were stop motion. If you film them moving very slowly and you're doing one shot, that means there's not going to be a lot of blur. And then you speed it up when you play it back. And that's going to make it look, one of the things that gives stop motion away is that there's no blur when the creatures are moving. It gives it that little shaky look. And that's what I felt like. But then I'm watching it, I'm like, dang, this must have been a nightmare to animate this many characters. I'm like, I don't think they did that. Are these people in costume? And the more I looked at, the more I realized they were.
There was a couple places where there's a large number of them where they did the thing where they shot up like 3 different scenes and then put them together.
Right.
But otherwise, so the shot in the middle is the one you were talking about, Bill, where the workman falls down, and just as he hits the ground, he turns into a bunch of these.
And I remember, as I remembered it, it's like he broke into little pieces and ran away. But now watching it, they just did a very simple fade out and fade into the monsters. But it worked. It sold that illusion that he had broken into these little things.
That's that middle picture there.
Yeah.
And I saw that in the trailer. That's what made me want to see that.
Right.
See this movie.
Well, there was
the monster on the bottom is stop motion, and I thought they packed a lot of personality into that little puppet.
Well, all of them. I mean, the little minions too. They had personalities because they didn't like. There was the one guy that ran like, like with his legs kicking up high. He was hilarious. He was running across the thing, and they looked just a little speeded up a little bit, but they're little. And they're demonic and they're supernatural. So
I wouldn't want them in my house.
Another cool shot with those little guys is the arm that got caught in the door.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when it fell down, all these little squiggly worms
ran under the door. Yeah. Now that was some cool stuff. So let's see. You got creepy stuff here. So
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So that makeup I think is excellent too.
Yeah.
Like that makeup, I thought it was so good on him. Like shockingly good.
The workman or the eyeball, both.
Oh, both.
Well,
really.
Actually, both. But both. But
it makes a good zombie. That's a good looking
excellent.
zombie.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly, I've got to say, and I mean it. I think it's one of the best jobs I've ever seen on a zombie.
Yeah.
Like
Ever.
that crack in his forehead is actually just painted on, but it looks.
Yeah. It looks like
amazing.
it's got. Yeah, it looks like it has depth and everything. It's really
Well,
good.
apparently there was what was it? One of the guys, I don't know, it might have been Craig Reardon, or maybe it was Randy Cook, had read some body, and I read some book, and I forget it now, but how they found these bodies in a tomb in Pompeii
Mm-hmm.
that were all preserved. And when they pulled them out, they were all, like their faces were all mushed over, like the way they were laying and stuff like that. And so they wanted to do something like that on this guy. So that's why the whole right side of his face is pushed over, because that's like the way he was crammed in the wall.
Growing up, I used to hear a lot of stories about guys that worked on dams and huge skyscrapers and stuff who would fall into the concrete pour, and there was nothing they could do but leave them there. They couldn't get them out.
And the way that they introduced this guy too, you may see him before that, but I don't think so. He just like
falls out of the wall.
Out of the wall. His body is just hanging out
weird.
in his face. It was disorienting and creepy.
And one kid goes, "That's not him. I made that up."
Yeah.
So yeah, good stuff. And then I know you got one here. Oh wait, I did the monster. So forced perspective. Let's see what you got here.
Okay, so you can see there's a human there directing them. These are the actors in their suits in the set.
That's
somebody working on one of the costumes, it looks like.
That is so cool. Like,
down on the right, it looks like somebody's zipping up the back of the costume or doing something.
Yeah, and they don't have their heads on. Some of them don't have their heads on, and that's wild.
Yeah, I saw a shot someplace of them.
That's cool.
All sitting around outside on little stools with their heads off. Having a break.
That just trips. Actually, looking at that just trips me out. That's wild.
Okay, so there was a scene. Remember the scene where like part of the floor falls away in the bedroom, I think it is.
Yeah.
And they're kind of down the stairs a little bit, the kids. And they're looking back up in the room, and you see one of the little minions sticking his head up over the edge, just in the room, and he looked tiny back through the doorway, from the hall. He just lifted himself up and looking. Well, that was a hand puppet.
Oh.
Then he ducks down, and then when he comes up, it's the full figure monsters in forced perspective, looking like the same size, running down there. Wow. And you can't, I couldn't see any cut or anything on how the hell they did that. I just, and it's about lining up mats and the different scales and stuff. But wow, it was just.
They did keep the room very simple though. And that's a smart idea to make as little stuff as
anything that was there, they had to build. So,
so they said
interesting how they've got part of the wall and door and everything.
I'm not sure what the reason for that is, but I'd have to watch it again and see why they have a cutout there.
They so one of the things they were saying is, so they're in Canada, and they're out in this like new development where not all the houses are built and stuff. And they had these guys come in to build the set, and they actually built a house. They said these guys didn't understand. These guys were actually building contractors. The walls had like 2x6s framed and plywood and put drywall on them and stuff.
That's one way to do it, right?
Well, it was I forget what their name was, like the Bruchet brothers or something like that. They referred to them several times, that they built this actual house. It wasn't the whole house. It was like close, but they had, so the outdoor shots were in a different place, right? But inside the house, I don't know. I thought it was great.
That makes it more secure and safe, though. So that's nice,
But it caused some problems when they had to make that floor break away. It was kind of like they didn't build it so that you'd be able to break it away. They had to take this whole thing.
It could have been something that they see. That's part of their problem.
Yeah.
Explain what they wanted. It's like, oh yeah, just build this room, this house, this. Yeah, there you go. I guess assuming they're going to use trashy, poopy materials, but they just went above and beyond, which is normally what you would want.
Right.
But if you know what you're going to do, then it's your job as filmmaker. Sorry, I go, I see this is where I'm like,
No,
nah,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
their problem.
So,
That's poor planning.
but at no time in the movie did I look at these things and think those are people in suits.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I would have told you no. I would have said stop motion for sure. 100%. There was not a doubt in my mind. I feel kind of bamboozled, actually.
As a kid, I said stop motion, all of it stop motion.
Right.
But watching it now, you can tell. I could tell a lot better anyway that it was suits with the large sets and everything. But it was a great job.
Done this well.
Right. And films just so it looks just unnatural enough to where it looks like stop motion. Yeah.
Well, even looking at that room, it just throws you off.
Right.
Because that dresser has got to be like 8 feet tall, apparently.
Oh, probably taller
There's
looking.
a guy standing there. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Probably
that's
10, 12.
wild. Like how that is crazy.
So I think I'm looking at this now. I'm thinking if the camera were moved over a bit, that cutout part of the door would match the door that's actually further back. So that way, when the guys in the suits run toward it, they're going under that cutout part.
Through it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's actually probably how tall they really are then. So
they
see,
probably have
that's
the camera
actually so that's
Yeah.
actually perspective because that stuff's higher. That dresser actually is probably not that tall just because of
So would
where
they be
it's
shooting
placed.
that with the camera higher in the air,
I guess.
looking down so that the
to give the
would line
illusion
up
that
with
they're
the inner
small.
door cutout. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
So
Now,
they
I know
didn't have
this
to build
special
it
effects.
as large.
Yeah,
but,
this special effects. Randy Cook also worked on Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings trilogy,
Oh,
which is
for the
another film.
Hobbitses?
Yeah, that has just marvelous forced perspective, and it makes it look like Ian McClellan is huge, and the people playing the hobbits are tiny. And they're just sitting in chairs.
Oh, it's so cute too. They did such an incredible
did a
job
great
with
job.
that. I just watched it again recently and I was like, God, it's really good.
So Randall
Mickey
William
from Mickey.
Cook's crew he was in charge of all basically the visual effects and stuff, and also did the sculpting on the Demon Lord and the stop motion animation. And one of the guys on his crew was Jim Alpearle, who I've talked with Ralph about quite a bit. He's worked on a lot of movies with stop motion. And a guy named Fumi Mishimo and Michael Hoover, who did all the miniature designs and computer motion control. And then the head of the matte paintings was a guy named Sid Dutton, who was a disciple of Albert Whitlock. And the matte photographer was Bill Taylor, who I believe was also the matte photographer for The Blob. And one of the matte artists was Mark Whitlock, who's Albert Whitlock's son. And at some point, Albert Whitlock came in and just kind of hung out and did a few touch-ups on some paintings. Anyway.
Cool.
So all that stuff, I think is cool. And then the special makeup, the prosthetic makeup creator and designer was Craig Reardon. He did have some assistants helping him. And then special effects was Frank Carrera. So those guys did a fantastic job of blending all this together seamlessly, I thought.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, here's more behind the scenes.
Yeah, more
stuff.
behind the scenes stuff. There's
and that is Randy Cook right there.
Oh, good. And more miniature sets. There they are. So they had miniature sets and they had giant sets. This is a mix of all kinds of cool things. And like any good magician, don't do the same trick the same way twice. Mix it up. Yeah. And so this movie is, and unfortunately, that's just not the way they're made anymore. It costs a lot of money to build giant sets. And when you can just do it in
green screen, everything.
Green screen, CGI, and now AI. There's some more. Oh, look at them.
Yeah, they're on top of the railing.
I don't know why it makes me laugh with that.
Well, look at where that chest of drawers is, and all that has to do with making the camera angle line up with the right place.
Right.
You shoot it.
There's some people here who knew how to use a slide rule.
Mm-hmm.
Even when Randy Cook was trying to describe, let me see if I can describe this to you. He couldn't.
Mhm.
It was like, if you want 3 inches here, then you got to have 12 inches there. And then you got this angle, and then you got to do this. And then by then I was lost. I mean, I sort of understood that you got to have a ratio, but every once in a while I could sort of see it in the movie. Like when they shot the angle, like I told you about the minions coming up through the hole in the floor. That was obviously,
whenever I talk to someone who's really into math, it reminds me why I'm not really into math. You got it's a whole different way of thinking. It's a mind that's wired.
Well, to me, this is really paired with even more so with angles. Anyway, cool stuff. All right.
That's cool.
What else do we have to say here? I think it's a fun movie.
It's a very fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
I
honestly, when I recommended it, though, I didn't remember how childlike it was. I was like,
which is fine. Yeah.
Well, it is.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm
it. You watched it when you were a child, and it had a good effect on you. So you were the intended audience, and it worked as intended. To watch it now and enjoy it, you've got to put yourself kind of in that mindset to remember, okay, not everything has to start out. This is also kind of a slow burn. We spend a lot of time with these kids
at the beginning. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Another one of the really cool shots was the hole when the smoke was going down the hole.
Mm-hmm.
When the kid was going down. That was cool. That was cool, I thought. And that was not, think about that now. They do that with CGI now, but they somehow or another underground set up these, had like tunnel or blowers underneath, or else they had the ground build up above. I don't, but it had, I sort of pictured it as the way he described it as those flexible ducts, that you take out with fans, with giant fans on the end, sucking stuff out, and then just laid the smoke up out there, and it just sucked it all down in there.
That's cool. Really?
I thought it was very cool, and that looked very real, I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting how they work with it.
They did some crazy stuff with the sky too at towards the end. That some of it worked, some of it didn't work as well. The only thing that I didn't think didn't work was when the little minion jumped on the kid's shoulder and was biting him. And when he grabs him,
I didn't notice it. When they bit, let me tell you, okay, that's why it worked so well for me, because I was like, ugh. The bite, for some reason, the biting gets me, y'all. I was like,
yeah.
Well, when he grabbed him, to me, it looked like he was grabbing one of those
drop kick it.
You must have loved
Stretch Armstrongs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he was grabbing Stretch Armstrong. Yeah.
I like it when he beat the one so bad and it's just laying on the ground.
Yeah.
like that.
Having seizures or something. That was good. There was a lot of little stuff like that. All right.
Well, we get asked this. I'm sure most of us are asked that question about we fans of horror movies, especially at conventions, and they say, I want to introduce my kid to horror. What can I show him? I very rarely bring up this movie because I forget about it. But this is a great.
That's just about perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Because what I like is it doesn't have anything really over. A lot of them even still have something overtly sexual or something, and this doesn't really. It's really pretty clean.
Yeah, I'd say this one, Gremlins, Monster Squad,
Gremlins
and of course,
is pretty
Audition.
hard.
I don't remember any swearing. There's no sex. There's no graphic violence, really.
It's really not too bad, other than them disobeying their parents and having a party. But whatever, like that's like the worst.
One kind of gross thing was when he ripped the dad's face off and the whole head or whatever.
Oh, that was pretty
splattered on the ground or whatever.
Yeah. That was actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
They said they had, like Bill usually says, they just put a bunch of whatever they had. One of the things they threw inside the head was oysters.
Ew.
Splattered out on the ground. Yeah, well, they actually, the movie makers said they got some grief about that everything turns out so sunny in the end, and they're like going, yeah, because this is not a mean-spirited horror movie. This is
Yeah, it's a kids' film, obviously. Like
that's not this movie.
Mhm.
Why would that's not what we would doesn't even
Yeah.
fit. The Gate, for anybody who's interested, is currently on Prime, Roku, Hoopla, Tubi, Pluto TV, Plex, and Freevee. Or you could there's some pay-per-views as well.
You did not get the Blu-ray of this, right?
I did. I did. Oh, it's well worth it. It's well worth it for the special effects.
I can't believe we didn't ask that earlier. I was like, wait a second. We didn't.
You
ask,
would not
did we?
believe how many interviews and crap there is on this. I don't know how they got all this stuff on one disc. They got interviews with everybody. Interviews with Randall Cook, Tibor, the producers, the writer. There's 2 commentary
Cool.
tracks. There's anyway, tons of extras. So, and it was fairly cheap.
Oh, well, that's even better.
Alrighty.
What happened?
Nothing.
What?
We're
Inspiration.
ending too early for Jeff, and he's having how?
No, my brain was just farting. So that's it for the Gate. And now we have some comments on our last film, some feedback. So we'll
Seems like it was only yesterday.
Yeah, and so episode 271 was Cannibal Ferox.
Another family-friendly kid film.
Yeah, so Chad, you want to take the Eleanor C?
Yes, and Eleanor says, nice review. Although if you ever do another cannibal movie, I need to remember not to eat breakfast while watching the video.
Okay,
Yeah.
Eleanor, we did put a
Yeah.
warning. We did put a warning in.
Oh, but that's not the same thing. Like it's like that's not. Oh yeah.
We weren't
Ooh.
just funning. That was
Yep.
just some fun.
Jeff, you didn't say anything rude, and I appreciate your valiant attempt. It wasn't bad. The Czech language is heavy with diacritic and R and Z letters, which are both in the title, are the worst for foreigners. I don't
Oh,
even
see,
know if
that's
R
not-
and Z are the
she's-
correct way to say
I
that.
think
That'd be
Eleanor's a little too nice to Jeff. That's.
I just said it phonetically and how I'd say it in English, and I think I said something like I might have said something nasty in Czech, but
I think Eleanor's a little too intelligent for me. I got to go look up what diacritic means.
well, you know what it is. It's the little marks,
Oh, those little
diacritical marks on that every language except English uses.
Yeah, we don't. I was about to say.
All right, one from appreciate it, Eleanor. Always appreciate it.
Yeah,
and one from Travis McDonald, Crystal.
Oh, Travis McDonald. Really enjoyed this review. I'm not a fan of the cannibal horror films, but they're a part of 80s horror and need some form of recognition. But I definitely side with Chad that this movie is a pile of dog squeeze. Oh God, dog
Wow,
squeeze.
dog
You have
squeeze.
taught me something new, and I'm going to go throw up now. Speaking, Eleanor, I'm going to join you and dog squeeze. Also, I totally agree with Bill on City of the Living Dead. It's a totally fun flick, and I wonder if the zombies in it inspired the zombies in The Return of the Living Dead.
I think they might have.
And the house on the edge of the park is sleazier than the house on the edge of the park is sleazier than I'm gonna actually say I don't want to I don't want it to get demonetized for that. And Vince McMahon on Spanish Fly. Okay.
Wow, that is sleazy indeed.
The lead actor in it, David Hess, always had a knack for playing scuzzy characters.
Yeah.
Shame he and Joe Spinell never teamed up. Always a great listen and best
Spinell.
wishes.
Oh, that'd be too much scuzz for one movie to hold.
I love you, Travis. You got a Joe
that's
Spinell
funny.
mentioned
Yeah,
in Cannibal
that's pretty
Ferox.
good.
Okay.
It's nice to hear Vince McMahon mentioned with the other one too, because
Yeah.
people forget about him. I'm with
Yeah.
you, Travis.
Well, you won't be forgetting about his wife.
No,
And we have one left. Bill.
Ah.
Emulous 79 with his
Emulous
usual one-liner.
79 says, I call him Joe Tomato if there's blood. Okay, I totally don't understand this reference.
I don't know.
He's talking about Joe D'Amato.
Oh,
okay.
good one,
Because
Emulous. That is actually pretty clever.
Because he did one of the horror movies in your history of cannibals, I think. Or...
Oh, yeah. Joe D'Amato. Joe D'Amato.
Joe Tomato.
You know, I should have brought up my...
Tomato.
Yeah.
Let's call the whole
I should have brought up my pictures from when I went to the cannibal exhibit at Balboa Park in San Diego. They had a cannibal exhibit there. I don't think they do anymore. Well, Balboa Park is one of those big open areas. It has a bunch of different museums and I don't know, what do you call them? Presentations, or I don't know.
So what did the cannibal exhibit have? Recipes?
Well, there was a history timeline. I got pictures of it. I should bring them.
There were food trucks everywhere. Nobody was lining up for it.
Well, I also went to it. They had one on, at one time there was a history of torture equipment from the Spanish Inquisition.
Oh, that's fun.
Traveling display that I went to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually I took my grandson to it. I think he was like 11.
Well, I mean,
it's
horrors of the world. I can guarantee you, Jeff, that there were plenty of 11-year-olds and under that actually saw that happening to people.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, we both were a little astonished at the I don't know what to call it other than the sphincter stretcher. It was,
oh my God. Is it the one where they put the person down on it?
Yes.
They
lower
like
a
them down on it.
Cone shaped thing.
And after a while, like they can't hold themselves up and then it just, it's like an impalement basically, but it's worse than that because it gets wider.
It's slow. Yeah.
And then we went to another one.
No.
No. This was cool. There was an exhibit that was traveling the country that had kind of like the Invisible Man, only this guy had taken cadavers and had found a way to
like plasticize.
Oh, I've seen the plastic. I had that.
One of them, all they had was muscles. Another one, all they had was blood vessels and veins and stuff, and that was really cool. And they were in like athletic poses.
So I worked at a museum where we had that exhibit come for us, and one of the things was an inmate who was going to be executed donated his body to science, and he was in the exhibit where they had like sliced him up like in these and so they had like a whole. They took images of his whole body so that this whole is very cool, but there's no body left. Because they sliced it so thin, it just became nothing. But it was the coolest way to like map out. They like saw every part and portion of the body, you know, even better than if they were going to dissect it. Because
was his name Willie Burke?
I can't remember.
Never mind.
This has been years.
That's was that a hair joke?
Yeah.
I would have just had him stuffed and then like mounted on a sphincter stretching chair. Go around the country with that.
We did a movie in the classic era, Crystal, The Flesh and the Fiends, about Burke and Hare from the late 1820s in Scotland, who they started out as grave robbers, but then they just started killing people to sell them to doctors.
Because digging up graves is a lot of work.
For education purposes, because the country had no laws for donating your body to science. So, but when they got caught, William Burke was one of his punishments was he was executed, and then his body was given to science.
Oh, well, that's fitting.
How the turns have tabled.
I think his skull is on display in some Edinburgh medical.
Stretch his anus.
All right.
They can't get past this. They cannot get past that.
Off with his anus.
So look, there's multiple versions of that, y'all, and one of them is where they actually like get they put someone on they hang them like this, and then they have the thing underneath them. It's so effed up. It's not quite an Iron Maiden, Chad. Dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun.
no.
No, but that was crazy.
I'll
And
take an Iron Maiden any day over that crap.
There was
The most
You guys are talking
frustrating
about-
heavy
thing
metal
about
band called
faster.
Anal Stretcher, but it never caught on.
yeah, the most frustrating thing
Okay.
about the torture display was you couldn't take pictures.
Oh, really? Why not?
I don't know. I
They don't want
think
you rebuilding it or coming up
Can
with
you-
a better version.
Probably.
Could you look like a bigger weirdo than to go to one of those exhibits and take pictures like this goes on my wall?
I would have.
I would have taken photos too, but that's because I mean, I'm kind of.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
For tonight. Thank you, Emulus. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Eleanor. As always, we love our comments. So please, everybody, make comments. Don't sit back and let everybody else do it. Let us know what you thought. Have you seen the movie? Did you like it? Do you have suggestions? We would love to hear it.
Did we ever do Kroll yet?
Yes.
Because I saw it on
we did.
Tubi. Okay, I thought so.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did Crawl with the
Glaive.
The glaive.
the glaive.
Mhm.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So anyway, so you can leave comments on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel, or you could send emails to feedback at gruesomemagazine.com, or go to the Gruesome Magazine. What do we call this? Gruesome Magazine's H&R and DOH podcast Facebook group, or even on the website. So, or you can leave reviews on iTunes as well, and we will read those, good or bad. But if it's bad, we might make fun of you. You know, it's just unless you have a good point. Anyway, that's it, Grue Believers, for this episode. But every 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1980 and 1989. Next up, this one chosen by Chad.
What is it?
It got bumped.
Finally, we're going to do Without Warning.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
But it's no longer playing on Tubi or any other streaming service.
Oh, well.
Did you
Where is
look?
it?
No, I'm just messing with you
Okay.
for bumping it.
It got bumped for Ghost Story.
Right.
Yeah.
It is still on Tubi and Plex.
Okay.
And I don't know if any of you guys
time.
have ever done anybody subscribes to FlixFling.
Say that again.
FlixFling.
I don't know if I've subscribed to that, but I've done
Or,
it.
some of us, some of you may have the Blu-ray. I'm just saying. Some of you.
Oh my God.
Who would that
be?
From 1980. So make sure you join us for that one. I know we have several people we're going, wait. I have to wait another 2 months for Without Warning. So anyway, it's here. It's finally here. So catch us again in 2 weeks for another great. Huh?
What?
She said 2 weeks.
I was just repeating you. That's sorry, Chad. Sorry, Jeff. I didn't mean to freak it.
Yeah, well, when we bump it, so we do an episode every 2 weeks, and there's 4 of us, so it's 8 weeks between Chad's picks. Wait a minute. Where's my slide rule?
He is bound and determined to stretch this out to an hour and a half.
I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said anything. I'm
That'll
so
teach you.
tired.
Troublemaker.
Just want to go to bed.
Just when we were almost out, you pull us back in.
Yeah.
Crystal,
That just
sip it, Crystals. Just.
Oh, by the way, Crystal.
Yes.
Have you ever heard the term burking?
No. What
It
is
is
that?
Oh, God.
Strangling somebody by covering their mouth and pinching their nose.
Oh.
Oh.
And that's the way William Burke did it.
Oh, that's how he
So
did
you're
it.
like suffocating them.
Yes.
And they call it burking.
Yes.
Huh,
Must have big hands.
interesting. But how? Yeah, but there were 2 people. There were 2 dudes.
Yeah,
right?
but they were, they didn't prey on young, robust, healthy people.
Okay. So they killed.
They got old
easy
drunks
pickings.
that were passed out and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay,
right.
so I know the 2 people on this podcast who would have ended up on the slab, and it wouldn't be Crystal and Chad. Okay.
Well, I mean, I can assure you I would have taken one of them with me. That's what I'm saying.
That's right. That's
The
our
anal stretcher alone is enough to keep me on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
20 years in
actually,
prison, I'll
guess.
take it.
They weren't using comfy chairs. That's for sure.
No.
Catch us again here in 2 weeks for another great horror movie of the 1980s. As only decades of horror can do it.
Yep.
Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Gruesome Magazine.